Hey, good morning, everybody. We will begin with chapter 9, verse 12. Chapter 9, verse 12. Vayomer Elokim, and Hashem said, Zos os habris, asher ani nosein. This is the sign which I place beini uveinechem, between me and you, uvein kol nefesh chayo asher itchem, and every living soul that's among you, lidoros olam. And this will be a sign for all generations. What will be the sign? Verse 13. Es kashti nosati be'anon. I have placed my rainbow within the cloud. Vaisal ospris beini uvein haaretz. And the rainbow will be a sign of a covenant between myself and the land. Verse 14. Vaya ba'anani anon al haaretz. When I bring my cloud upon the land, v'niraso keshes be'anon, and the rainbow appears. Verse 15. And I remember my covenant between me and you, between all life, and I will not bring another flood to destroy all flesh. Okay, there's a very, very important Ramban on this on rainbow in the world before this moment. So Ramban says the feeling you get when you look at the psukim is there had never been a rainbow before. This is the first time there was ever a rainbow. That's the feeling that you get. The Ata bara Hashem chadasha lasos keshes bashamayim biyomanan. And now God creates this new concept of a rainbow. That's what it sounds like in the psukim. Why is this rainbow indicative of anything? What about this rainbow means that God's not going to destroy the world? The Amru B'Tamo says that the explanation given regarding the reasoning for this sign is Kiakeshes. Just give me a few minutes, okay? I'm so sorry you got hurt. Kiakeshes lo aso. Kiakeshes lo aso shiyu raglav umala sheyirok ilu min hashamayim morimbo. V'yishlach chitzav. If you think about a rainbow, the legs of the bow are facing the world, right? And so if you think about a bow as in a bow and arrow, the implication of that is the bow is pointed upwards as opposed to being pointed downwards. In other words, so the idea is the shape of the rainbow is such that you have the image, if you imagine a marksman, coming forward, just holding his bow upwards, not pointed towards the other people. So the point is, so the God's bow, so to say, is pointed upwards, not downwards towards the people. That's the idea, says the Ramban, that the rainbow represents he's not going to destroy the world. Okay. Like just like what we said, Ramban says that's normal when people at war want to show that they're not going to fight anymore, they redirect their weapon, their bow. Okay. Further. V'anachnu al korchenu namin l'divrei hayavanim shemilad hashemesh ba'avir halach yakeshes betolada. But the Ramban says we really have to accept the word of science of the time that a rainbow comes from rays of sun coming down on a moist area. Guess what? Do a home experiment. Fill up a cup with water, put it in the light of the sun, and you'll see a rainbow. So then the question is so difficult to think about. How does this work? God makes it sound like he created a rainbow just now, and that every time there's ever a rainbow, it's a sign from God. We can make a rainbow ourselves. So what does that mean? But this is I really like this part about the Ramban. The Ramban says not only do we feel compelled to say there must have been rainbows around before this story, but the Ramban says it's implied in the pasuk that there were rainbows around before the story. We don't have to be apologetic about the pasuk. Look at the pasuk closely, says the Ramban. Ki omar es kashti nosati be'anan. It doesn't say in the pasuk, I'm placing the rainbow in the cloud. It doesn't say that. It says, I have placed the rainbow in the cloud. Kasher Amar Zos Osa Bris Asher Nino saying. So the implication is there's already a rainbow around. I already placed the rainbow. That's what it says in the pasuk, says the Ramban. Umilas kashti more, shaislo akeshes tchila. There's something else. It talks about my rainbow. My rainbow implies a rainbow that already exists. That's the other point that he's making. V'lochein nefarish hakasov hakeshes asher nasati be'anan miyom tchila. I'm sorry, hakeshes asher nasati be'anan miyom abriya tia minayom hazev ha'hola os bris b'niyum b'nechem. Shekol zman she'erenu azkir ki bris shalom b'niyum b'nechem. Says the Ramban, the pshat in the pasuk is that God says, whenever I see the rainbow, it's a reminder that I have a covenant with you. But the signs of the rainbow existed before this. God is just saying there's a new label, there's a new reminder every time you see a rainbow. It reminds of this covenant. Vim tvakesh ma tam bekeshes lios os. So then, hold on a second. It's one thing if the rainbow never existed before, and now God creates a rainbow. Wow, that's a real sign. But the rainbow has existed already. The rainbow could come, presumably for other reasons. So then what kind of sign is this in the first place? The Ramban says, look, we have this elsewhere in Chumash. The Ramban says we have that when parties wanted to make an agreement, they would make a mound of stones. They would make a monument. That doesn't mean that the monument means this. It means that when we see the monument, it's a reminder of our agreement. Says the Ramban, Hashem is saying, when a rainbow appears, it's a reminder that I'm not going to destroy the world. But it doesn't mean that God created a rainbow just now, and it doesn't mean that God created a rainbow at that moment when the rainbow appears. It's a reminder. This is something to think about when you see a rainbow, because it's always true that God won't destroy the world. Va'od. Ki kasher tira behipoch haniskar, yazechel l'shalom kasher kosavnu, ubein sheti akeshes ata bein chois be'olam b'teva, hatam ba'osha ba'echadu. It's just a sign of peace. It's irrelevant if the rainbow only came into existence now or not. An interesting Ramban, a good Ramban to know. Not all the commentaries agree to this. Some of the commentators say, no, what do you mean? God created the signs of the rainbow at this juncture, but it's a good commentary. It's a good Ramban to know. Let's go on to verse 20. So the rainbow has happened. God has assured Noach the world won't be destroyed. And now Noach, of course, already brought offerings to God. And now verse 20, Vayachel Noach ish ha'adama vayita karem. And Noach, the man of the earth, began, and he planted a vineyard. The word began is a very strange word in the pasuk, right? It sounds overly dramatic. Let's say it would have just said in the pasuk, Noach planted a vineyard. Why does it say he began and he planted a vineyard? So let's go to Rashi. Rashi on pasuk chaf. First Rashi on pasuk chaf. Vayachel asa atzmo chulin. He made himself mundane. He should have been involved in other planting first. Very famous medrash that Rashi is citing. It's though the literal translation is to begin, it's a play on words that Vayachel is language of chol. Like we talk about chol is the weekday versus Shabbos. So Noach, who had this remarkable experience for months and months and months of being totally devoted to others. And the whole fact that he was saved in the first place was because he was a remarkably pious human being. He tainted himself at this moment. Not that he did anything immoral by planting the vineyard, but he really could have put his energies into something more productive first. The classic understanding of the medrash is that wheat and things like that is more important than wine. So what did he need to, his first effort is to start planting grapes to have wine. That was beneath himself. Again, I want to be very clear. The pshat in the medrash is not that he was sinful in this. It just means that, come on, you could do better than that, basically. So he made himself, he lowered his level. That's what Rashi says. Going on to the Ramban, it's the second Ramban on pasuk chaf. Vayachel. Ki hu heichel lintoa kramim, ki arishonim natu gefen, vu heichel lintoa gfanim rabim, shuros hanikra kerem. Kibir soso biyayin lonata gefen b'sharo ilanos bi'asa kerem. A very interesting shot, totally different than Rashi. Says the Ramban, what it means he began is he was the first one to do something like this. He was the first one to plant a vineyard. He was so focused on the idea that he wanted to have like an organized planting of grapes. It wasn't just a vine here, a vine there. He was the initiator of the concept of the kerem, of the vineyard, of the rows. So what it means here is he was an innovator. That's what Ramban understands the phrase. And now finally the Sforno on Pasuk Chaf. Vayachal Noach, Hischil bepoal biltinos. This is more like Rashi. He began with something inappropriate. Vilachein nimshechu mizeh masim asher lo yeyasu. And because he started down a bad path, not a bad path, but not an elevated path, things extended from this. Bad things extended from this. Because this, of course, is going to lead to the whole story where he gets drunk, and then his sons act very inappropriately when he's drunk. Ki amna ma'at min ha'kilkul ba'aschala yisavev harbe mimenu b'sof. A little bit of inappropriate conduct at the beginning brings tremendous problems at the end. Kmo sheyikre ba'chachamos me'atos ba'aschala. Okay, really interesting. So first of all, the Sforno says that there's a section in the Sefer Bamidbar that the people had gotten involved in sexual immorality, and then as a result of that, they got involved in avodah zarah and idol worship. But the language is the people began to get involved in sexual, almost done. The language is the people began to be involved with sexual immorality. And the Sforno says, why does it say that? It's saying that because one thing leads to another. So our question was, why do I have to say he began? So Rashi's chat was, he began is actually, it's a play on words because it doesn't mean as much beginning month that he tainted himself. The Ramban says the pshat is he began, he's the first one who ever did a vineyard. The Sforno says, of course, it didn't have to say theoretically he began. The point is that we're saying it's all connected. His poor decision to plant a vineyard first is fundamentally connected to what came next, because that's life. We gradually move in good steps, we gradually move in bad steps, but that's how our lives and this world works. So we discussed this morning the Ramban on the idea of the rainbow and on this phrasing of Noach began when it came to the vineyard. We discussed Rashi, the Ramban, and Sforno. My partner has to get out of here. I wish everyone a good day. And just a reminder, the evening group is not meeting. Take care.
Thank you.